A very warm good evening to all of you. You know, my today's lecture would be focused on the medieval literature, or better known as Age of Chaucer, which runs down from 1350 to 1450. Okay, and these lecture series are based on the notes which I have prepared from different sources, and they have been prepared with different kind of reference books, and I am sure that this is going to help you a lot in the UGC net, because UGC net is all about cross reference question. Okay, how you can remember one writer associated with a different writer or the different works. So this cross reference things really works in the preparation of the UGC net. And talking about the fact about the medieval literature, it includes the greater part of the reign of Edward III, okay, and long French war associated with his name, and then comes the revolution of 1399, okay, terrible plague or Black Death which occurred, okay, and William the Bastard, the Duke of Normandy, how he succeeded to the royal dignity of the King of England. Okay, and always remember, when it comes to the history of Britain, it's all about successions of the king. Okay, one king try to succeed after another king, and and in the lieu of that, many war of successions has been fought, and I think it is common in the entire world. Any nation's history, if you pick it up, even when it comes to the Britishers coming to the India and challenging the authorities which were already present in India. There were also war of successions which were happening at that point of time. Okay, so when William came to the England, he found that England as a feudal land ruled by natives aristocracy and ordered by a rich influential church. So we have to understand the fact that how much influential church was in the starting. We all know that during the Elizabethan age, there were two kind of church, or the religion was there, Protestant, okay, and the Catholics. Okay, and that thing we will be covering when we'll be talking about the Elizabethan age. But coming to the point, also we have to understand the fact that when we try to dig deeper inside the history of Britain, it's all about invasions, the invasions which were occurring at that point of time, and we also know that how Angles and Saxons and Jutes, they invaded the island of the present day United Kingdom. Okay, and how different tribes they created that particular Angles, Saxons and Jutes, and that's how it became the England. That is entirely a different story. Okay, so basically what happened, that Norman conquest fixed a social and cultural gulf between the privileged ruling caste and alienated mass of the population. Okay, so and coming to the point about the literary features, was very important feature was standardizing of the English. Okay, English became a standard language, and which was being used, which started being used in the later phases of the history of the England, when we will read about it. And French and English amalgamated to form the standard English tongue. So basically the French as well as the English, it became a standard tongue for Britain. Okay, and the best expression of that French and English tongue is found in the Chaucer's work. Okay, and also this period was a very important period where a foundation of the English prose style came into the existence. Okay, and in the works of Mandeville and Mallory, we have prose that is both original. Okay, so these were some of the literary features of that particular age. Okay, and coming to the point, if I talk about Geoffrey Chaucer, and his age runs down from 1340 to 1400. Okay, so there are certain events which occurred during the reign of during the period of the Chaucer. Okay, so first one was the Black Death, which first appeared in Dorset in 1348 and reached its height in the summer of 1349. Okay, and the Black Death and the labor shortages that followed severed to exacerbate long-standing social tension between those who profited from the land and those who actually worked on it. So this idea, or this tension between the feudal lords okay, and the tenants or the laborers has been from the ages, okay. And even the history has shown us that during any calamity which occurs at that point of time, there are acute shortages of the basic necessities. And these days, in recent times, we all know that we are going through another pandemic, which is COVID-19, okay. But in those days, the things were much more complex, and the people who were getting suffered because of that were the common people, okay. They were going through a lot, and labor shortages were very much at that point of time. And so there is kind of social conflict which is being shown during the Black Death, okay. And then you can understand, okay, the laborers, they were not getting jobs, okay, and there were a lot of tension, financial problems were there. So somehow at that point of time, the common masses, they became fed up with the the governance at that point of time, okay. And anytime we all know in the history that anytime whenever the common masses, they are not happy with the way their kings or queens are taking them into consideration. So what happens? The peasant revolt happened in 1381, okay. The imposition of the vastly unpopular poll tax on the laboring classes may have been immediate provocation for the revolt, but it articulates the leader. So at that point of time, a kind of poll tax was being imposed on the common masses, on the laborers, and that's where the peasant revolt started. Imagine a particular section of the society, they are going through a tough times like plague, okay, Black Death is going on, and they have an acute shortage of the employment, acute shortage of the food, and on above that you have to pay the taxes. So obviously the entire mass will they will stand in the revolt, and that's what happened, okay. And then a very important event which occurred, which is Vulgate, the Latin translation of the Bible. So there is a another discussion will be happening over the Bible, how it came into the existence, and how the development of the Bible took place. So basically, the Vulgate Latin is also find a standard text of the scriptures in the Thomas Hobbes Leviathan of 1651, okay. And and then a prominent writer was William Langland, 1332 to 1386, and talking about the age of the Geoffrey Chaucer's age, what kind of age was it, what kind of literary writings were being written, what kind of language was being followed. So the prose, English tongue was ripe for the prose style. So it was a right time when prose came into the prominence, and works of prose that in both is original and individual. The prose style was completely original, and it was completely individual, okay. Chaucer was the first poet to be buried in what is known as Poets' Corner, which is Westminster Abbey, and today which is situated in the UK, and most of the prominent poets of England are being buried there, okay. Coming to the period of Chaucer, we all know that the period of Chaucer was divided into the French period, the Italian period, and the English period, okay. So what happened in the French style? So what kind of writings were being written during the French period of the Geoffrey Chaucer? So style was clumsy and immature. Obviously, any writer which starts writing, okay, so his writing would be kind of immature and clumsy. It was not very clear kind of writing, okay. And Romance of the Rose, written in the octosyllabic couplet, which it was written in the octosyllabic couplet, and what was based upon the Layman de Rose, okay, or Gouvain de Loris and Jane de Monge. So these were the French writer. Obviously, Chaucer was inspired from the French tradition, French culture, and French people. So that is the reason we know that he has written Romance of the Rose in the octosyllabic couplets. And Book of the Duchess also belonged to this period. It was written in the memory of John of Gaunt's wife. So basically it is being said that when John of Gaunt's wife passed away, and at that point of time the Book of the Duchess was being written, okay. The Complaint of the Lover's Life by John Lydgate is based on it, okay. Next come the Italian phase and great stretch of originality. So that's where Chaucer actually started experimenting with its originality, okay. Annelid and Arcetide, the Parliament of Fowls belong to this period, and Troilus and Cressida adopted from the Boccaccio's longest complete poem written in rhyme duel, which is Decameron. It has been adopted from the Decameron. It is Chaucer's best narrative work. You can say it is Chaucer's best narrative work, and it was written in the rhyme royal. Okay, so understand the fact that whenever these kind of literary terms, the rhyme royal, heroic couplet, okay, and blank verse, whenever these kind of terms are coming, make sure that you are making a brief note of those particular thing, because many times according to my experience of the UGC net, okay, they ask particularly the lines. Maybe they will give you the lines and they will ask you that what kind of line is it, iambic pentameter, or is this a heroic couplet, or is it a blank verse? Okay, so there is a book called M.H. Abrams' Glossary of Literary Terms. There's no literary term which has been left in that particular book, so I will suggest to read that book properly. Okay, and it is also written in rhyme royal. Okay, so again, when it comes to the rhyme royal, make sure that you are making a brief note of it, that what is rhyme royal, and keep revising that thing. Okay, and the House of Fame, a poem written in octosyllabic couplets, unfinished dream poem by Chaucer's last poem is French form. He parodies Divine Comedy. So there is the Dante's Divine Comedy has been parodied in the House of Fame. Okay, Chaucer is carried by an eagle to a House of Fame in this particular work, and the legend of good women is also belongs to this period. So what I will suggest is that so basically I'll be giving an outline of this particular period. Okay, and the works which I am talking about, I will request you to, if you don't want to do anything, just Google it, just read it on the Wikipedia once or twice or thrice, and you will know that it will be there in your system. Okay, whenever you will appear in the exam, it will be right there only. So Legend of Good Women also belongs to this period. He was having intention of telling 19 tales of virtuous women of antiquity, finishes with 8 and accomplish only 9th only begin. Okay, so poem is the first known attempt in English to use heroic couplet. Very, very important that this poem, Legend of Good Women, was the first poem in which the heroic couplet was attempted by Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, and third period, obviously it was a English period, and which was a period of Canterbury Tales, in which the Canterbury Tale was being written. Okay, and when it comes to the Canterbury Tales, it is very, very important that you are reading the prologue to Canterbury Tales. In the prologue to Canterbury Tales, most of the characters are mentioned there, and if you just skim through the prologue to Canterbury Tales, you will see that most of the the characteristics or most of the social thing will be mentioned in the prologue to Canterbury Tales. And for the idea of tales, Chaucer may be indebted to Boccaccio. So it is being said that Boccaccio was the main reason behind which the Chaucer brought the idea of Canterbury Tales. So Chaucer finished only 20 tales and left 4 partly incomplete. So partly complete, sorry. Okay. So there are 2 prose tales, Chaucer's own tale of Melibœus and the Parson tale. Very, very important. Though these questions has been repeatedly asked, but still they might give you these kind of questions. So that is what I was talking about, something which is unique in the in the works of the writer. You have to note it down. It's very, very important. Okay, rest of the poems are in decasyllabic or the heroic couplet. So to this period, several short poems are inscribed, including the lack of steadfastness and serico-comic compliment of Chaucer to his empty purse. These are the minor works of the Chaucer which are not being asked. Yes, but if any poet or any writer who have given a critical commentary or any works of the Chaucer or any other writer, okay, that becomes a very, very important thing. Okay, for example, about Milton, it is being said that he was of the devil's party without knowing it. Okay, William Blake talked about it. Okay, so next is the Parliament of Fowls. It has been argued to complement the marriage of King Richard to the Anne of Bohemia in 1302. Okay, so again, any event which is any historical event which has occurred, that has been written by the authors or the poets, and it has become a very huge success. Okay, for example, if I talk about the fact that there are many things which are written and which has some historical significance. Okay, and the debate is about how properly to secure mate may remain unresolved. So this is the basic idea behind the Parliament of Fowls. And now talking about characters in Canterbury in sequence. Okay, so today I'll be just going through the just skimming through the characters. Okay, but I will completely dedicate a different lecture on the Geoffrey Chaucer's characters, okay, of the Canterbury Tales, and then further I will discuss those things in detail, because Canterbury Tales will be requiring a good amount of discussion on that. Okay, we'll be covering what the characters, what is the what society they represent, so it will be requiring another lecture series for that. Okay, so coming to the original plan of the story, it was of 120 stories. Okay, and only 22 stories were completed. Okay, and out of which we all know that the Canterbury Tales, it starts with the knight, the squire, and the yeoman. Okay, knight is the duly succeeded by the representative of the church. Okay, and representative of the church would be the prioress with accompanying nun, personal chaplain, and other priest. Monk holds office of outriders in the monastery. The worldly and mercenary friar is there. And then third state, okay, represented by great variety of figures like rich, middling, poor, beginning with somewhat shifty, merchant, a bookish Oxford clerk, sergeant of the law, and a franklin, and moves down to town guildsmen like haberdasher, carpenter, weaver, dyer, and tapicer. So the entire society of the England is being represented in the Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. And when you start reading right from the knight to the weaver, carpenter, haberdasher, you will actually see the demarcation of the society into the Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. And then there are skilled tradesmen also, cooks, shipmen, and Doctor of Physique, House of Fame. Poetic response to work were made by John Lydgate in the Temple of Glass. Okay, and coming to the point about the Canterbury Tales, there are 24 stories tellers, out of which 23 pilgrims tell stories. The Night Tale is abbreviated version of Boccacio's Tresida. But again, I will definitely discuss about the characters in Canterbury Tales. But I think today it will be more than enough. If you delve deeper and if you go through the Google it, the Wikipedia, the characters. So I will suggest that before my next lecture is going to come on the YouTube, so I will suggest you to read something about the characters of the Geoffrey Chaucer, because if you have a pre-existing knowledge about the characters of the Canterbury Tales, it will be very much easier for you to follow my lectures. Okay, so I hope this lecture series was is helpful to you, and I'll keep bringing the lectures for you, and I hope that whatever the notes I have prepared with various cross references, it will be very, very helpful to you in preparation of the UGC NET. So this will be a continued venture from my side, free of cost. Okay, because I believe if you have knowledge about something, you should spread it, because it is not going to help you people, but it is also going to help me also, because some point of time I have to become a lecturer or the professor. So I think the charity should begin at home. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be continuously making the videos and uploading videos for you. Okay, and if you really like this video lecture, please like, subscribe, and share my videos. Thank you so much.